Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey LeBenger. At Summit Medical Group, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues that affect their lives. That's why we're very proud to support important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Giving the Gift of Life, next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Northward Center, Summit Medical Group, a multi-specialty medical practice providing comprehensive care from birth and pediatrics to geriatric care, concentrating in general wellness, cancer treatment, disease management, and behavioral health. New Jersey Resources, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and by Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and AM 970 The Answer.
Welcome to Caucus. I'm Steve Adubato. Interesting fact, over 6,000 living kidney donations happen each year because of selfless individuals willing to give the gift of life to someone else in need. Now, joining me here in the studio are four individuals who understand organ donation a lot better than most. First, Brian Glennon is a living kidney donor and New Jersey Sharing Network volunteer. Dr. Prakash Rao is the director of Transplant Laboratory at the New Jersey Sharing Network. Dr. Stuart Geffner has been with us before. He's the director of Renal and Pancreas Transplant Surgery at RWJBarnabas Health. And finally, Jocelyn Tsai, a living kidney donor and daughter of a kidney recipient. During this program, folks, because we are actively involved working with the Sharing Network, you're going to see the website. That website is one of the most significant websites you're going to see in terms of where to get valuable information, how to find out about organ and tissue donation, and a whole range of other aspects of this complex and important issue. Stuart, you've been with us before. You've performed how many kidney surgeries?
Probably about 2,000 or 3,000 over the course of what's now 24 years at St. Barnabas Medical Center.
Biggest difference between living donor and a deceased donor?
The biggest difference is that there's tremendous advantage to receiving a living donor transplant for the recipient. It can be done electively. It can be done when the recipient is in the best medical condition to undergo surgery. And the bottom line is it gives better results, better short-term and better long-term results for the recipient.
And so someone right now, right? I mean, we're involved in a public awareness initiative. If you know our series, you know we've been doing that. We put up the website right now. Someone wants to find out, Brian, about living organ donation, which you were involved in,
Correct.
which you know very well with your mom. What would someone find there to cause them to say, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I want to make a difference. I want to give the gift of life?
Well, at NewJerseySharingNetwork.org, you will find any information that you need. If somebody is thinking about becoming a living donor, I highly recommend going to the site and checking out what they have to offer, and even giving a call if you need more information. That's not.
Yeah, but you're in an interesting situation. Let's slowly disclose a couple of things. Your wife, Elise, is a top executive at the Sharing Network we've known and worked with for many years. But the other thing we disclose is that you're what's called an altruistic, right, Steve?
Altruistic donor. Yes.
Altruistic donor. What does that mean, and why is it so relevant to this conversation?
Well, altruistic donor is a person who donates, well, I donated my kidney to a stranger. I did not know who I was donating to. I just felt like it was something I wanted to do. And it's relative to this conversation because I donated to Jocelyn's mother, and she, from what I hear, is doing fantastic.
Your mom, Haley, right?
Yes, she's doing fabulous.
You know, I saw you on the Today Show with Megyn Kelly. Now, when Brian was doing this, and your mom was receiving this kidney, first of all, set the context for us, if you could. Jocelyn, how long was your mom waiting? What was her situation?
My mom actually had lupus since I was 3.5, so over 30 years. And so she'd been sick for a long time. In terms of how long she was on the waiting list, it was just 4 years, like last week. 4 years on the deceased donor list.
So you find out that someone, an altruistic donor, is willing to give his kidney. Did you know who it was?
You know, I actually didn't know it was the altruistic donor, so so that was actually a really nice surprise when we were on the Today Show in June. When we first signed up, you know, it was just under the premise that I was donating mine in exchange for someone for my mom's.
That was the deal.
Yeah, and at the time they told us, you know, six people were involved, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That
was the chain. The chain has grown. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But
exactly.
And Doctor, I want to come to you in a second about finding out how to match and who's a match, who's not a match. Was the arrangement that your mother would receive a kidney if you were willing to give a kidney?
Yes. So that's part of what the exchange program is about. So you have, you know, and I'm sure Dr. Geffner can speak to it more, but sure. It's, you have like patient A and person A and patient B and person B who is willing to swap for the other person. That's like the easiest, simplest, most straightforward. In our case, we've got 30 plus pairs of A's and B's and all the way down the alphabet.
How big is this chain right now?
I think it's over 30. And it's still going.
Okay, 30 people who have been helped?
Correct. 30 donors and 30 recipients.
30, but I'm curious about this, Doctor. I'll come back to you. How do you match up? Someone says, I want to do this. Someone says, I want to do it because I want to help my mom. Someone does it because he or she's just an incredibly good person and wants to do it for both reasons. How do you know they're matched up?
There are a few things that we do. Obviously, the first thing you want to make sure is that their blood groups are compatible.
Their blood groups?
That's the first gate, as it were. After that, we look for specific proteins called the human leukocyte antigens.
I'm sorry, what?
Human leukocyte antigens, without being too technical.
Go on the website and find out more about that.
Without being too technical, these are the proteins that define self from non-self. And this is what makes a donor and a recipient either compatible or incompatible. So what we would first do is we tested Brian's blood, and we would have tested Haley's blood, and we would have come to a reasonable assumption as to how foreign Brian's kidney would be to Haley's immune system. That would be the first step. After that, we would have to make sure, and perhaps this is the most important test that we would carry out, it's what we call a cross-match.
A cross-match?
A cross-match is effectively a transplant in a test tube. We take donor cells, for instance, Brian's, and we let them say hello to Haley's blood. And if there are antibodies in Haley's blood, which is possible because she has been having lupus for a long time, has probably been on dialysis, so we want to make sure that when Brian's kidney is transplanted into Haley, the antibodies that are in her blood don't act as immunological Pac-Man and go after the donor kidney.
So I'm sure it's even more complicated than that. Go ahead, Stu.
So that's the science behind the cross-matching. The question is, how do we pair people together? So historically, we used to look at living donation as something that would occur between blood relatives. Parent to child, adult child to parent.
I'm sorry, I disclosed this before. My wife, Jen, who you know well,
that's right.
You performed surgery on her, a living donor, donated her kidney to her brother.
Right, so siblings, also common. And then over time, as we got better in managing the immune system of recipients, we were able to expand that to what Dr. Rao suggests, which are people that are blood type compatible and immune systems are, while they're not necessarily blood relatives, but we know the immune system is not going to react. So that opens up the gate for spouse or close friends or relatives that are not blood relatives, cousins, in-laws. And then the last thing is the altruistic donor. And that's, obviously, Brian will talk more about that. We then have in our program, and we have, again, the largest living donor kidney program in the United States in 2017, we have a lot of patients that come to us, have someone that wants to donate for them, but they're not compatible. So we put them in a registry.
What does that mean to be in the registry?
So two things. Number one is we match up within our own program because our own program is so large. We have a lot of pairs. And we have a computer program that assists us in trying to match incompatible pairs. And there's also a national registry as well. So we frequently exchange kidneys.
Up.
Correct. Right. So as Jocelyn suggested, if patient A is in need of a kidney and their donor is not compatible to them, and patient B is in need of a kidney and their donor is not compatible to them, maybe B is compatible to A and A is compatible to B. Now, we've gone beyond that into what we're talking about today, which is the kidney chain, or what we call paired exchange.
Is it getting more common?
Yes.
The chain.
So, yeah, so A gives to B, and B gives to C, and C gives to D. And that can happen over a long period of time, and this has gone on for months now.
By the way, find out more about the chain when you go on the website right now. Disclose two things. One, RWJBarnabas Health is an underwriter of public broadcasting, including our work, and we have a long-time partnership with the Sharing Network in terms of public awareness initiatives that we're doing right now. I'm curious, how many people, do we know how many people are waiting right now for a kidney? Do we have that information?
I think if you go to
is
the
it between
UNOS,
5,000 and 6,000?
Around that, yes. Around that.
That are waiting.
That's in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Do we have a national?
Nationally, I believe it's 70,000.
Correct.
70,000.
Yeah. So at our list alone at St. Barnabas is about 2,000.
I think roughly, the latest numbers from UNOS suggest that there are about 112,000 people waiting for a transplant. Right. If you compute, about 60% of them are kidneys, as Stu mentions, that comes to about 70,000 people waiting for a kidney transplant.
So that's what's so important about this. One of the key messages here is there's a tremendous shortage of donor organs. Absolutely.
So someone right now goes, by the way, that website that we're talking about also connects to the Motor Vehicle Commission, if I'm not mistaken. The Motor Vehicle Commission, and listen, it's just me saying this. You do what you want to do. When I went to renew my license a couple months ago, you go there, just check off the box saying, yes, I'm in. I want to be an organ and tissue donor. I mean, is that question asked, or does the person renewing his or her license have to ask?
No, I believe it's asked.
It's asked.
It's asked.
Just consider that question. We're not going to advocate. We're just going to inform. I got to ask you something. Post-surgery. Describe, because you're an athlete. You competed in the transplant games. We're going to be talking about the 20 transplant games in just a bit. Actually, last time we talked to you, you were competing in the run.
Right, the
5K?
Sharing Network 5K,
yeah.
Yes.
Question, recovery for you?
My recovery went smoothly. I would say the first couple of days, obviously, I was a little sore. I've never had surgery before, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but got up, was moving around within the next day. Walking a week later, going on long walks, and then I was back on my mountain bike in 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
And then I would say, like 6 weeks, I was.
Are you saying that if someone's never been on a mountain bike, that 4 weeks after they donate, never mind. You're
Call me.
Describe your situation.
Similar to Brian's.
Don't say you were mountain biking.
No,
with him.
I'm not, but I was boxing. So,
Whoa.
although I will say at 4 weeks, I definitely struggled quite a bit. So I boxed, and 4 weeks after I went to class and had to take a knee after 5 seconds of planking because I couldn't do it. So that was definitely very humbling.
Hold on, you don't box professionally. You box for fitness.
Yes, for fitness.
Just want to clarify that.
Yes, just for fitness. But similar. I mean, the first few days were a little bit, I've never had surgery either, so didn't really know what to expect.
It's a big deal. Or wasn't it?
It wasn't at all. Like I didn't have any nervousness going in, not at all. Afterwards, I was like, okay, this is a little bit humbling. Like, this is not quite what I expected.
Looking at pictures of you. Is that you and your mom?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She was doing laps, and I was like, that's the only time I was up and in the hallway, because the rest of the time I was in my bed. But yeah, she's a warrior.
Describe her quality of life today.
Oh, I mean, this is, I mentioned earlier that she had lupus since I was 3, so this is the healthiest she's been since 1980 something. Yeah.
Gift of life?
Oh, amazing.
Not an exaggeration.
No. She originally did not want to do this, and she was very hesitant to even allow me to donate.
Tell me what that is before I go to the break. What is that?
You know, like my mom's hairstyle that she gave me?
Oh, that's you!
That's my mom and me.
Circa...
That's when she was healthy.
What year?
I was about a year old.
Okay.
I was about a year old.
That is awesome.
1981.
So I'm going to come back to you because there are a few questions I have for you about what people need to know and the recovery process and a few other things. Listen, important program. We've been doing organ and tissue donation for about 4 years now. trying to create public awareness. That's why that website's up there. We bring it out there, we bring you the information, we bring you people who are living it every day, and the rest is up to you if you want to know more. We'll be right back right after this.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Welcome back, folks. Talking about organ and tissue donation. Dr. Geffner, let me ask you. Misconceptions about, I said big deal, no big deal. What is it?
So you said it's a surgery.
For a living donor. For
a living donor. It is and it isn't. So we now do the surgery in what we call minimally invasive or laparoscopic. So it's 3 little incisions and 1 incision that's about 4 centimeters just to extract the kidney. Patients are in the hospital for 24 or 48 hours, and you heard the recovery really is quite rapid.
By the way, my wife, a runner, 4 weeks later, running much faster than I ever did, and I never gave my kidney. So I just want to share that.
So that's been a tremendous advance for us in the field of transplantation, living donation, to do this operation minimally invasive. It is a big deal in the sense that these are young, healthy people that are volunteering for an operation.
Big deal.
And they are volunteering for an operation that in no way benefits them from a medical or physical standpoint. So it's an operation that I believe is unique in the entire world of surgery. In no other setting does someone volunteer for an operation of this magnitude for no medical or physical benefit. Sure, there may be some emotional benefit. Because of that, this is an operation that we hold sacred. And it has to be done. We never say 0, we never say 100% in medicine, but it has to be as close to 100% safe for the donor and effective in the recipient. The kidney has to work in the recipient. And the stakes, I believe, are the highest of anything that we do because these are young, healthy people volunteering.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Stu.
Stu hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head. It's absolutely true. Transplants can be from 2 kinds, deceased donors and living donors. And I think while the stakes are high, the stakes get higher in the case of a living donor because, yes, the living donor is one who volunteers to have his or her body invaded, even if it's minimally invasive, and give a part of himself or herself purely based on their own altruism. They're wanting to make a difference in someone's life.
Sure.
And we take these responsibilities even more so when we deal with the living donation.
Absolutely. Real quick, after surgery, are there some things that you need to be aware of, cognizant of, protective of? What did you have to do?
I was just told that I cannot have ibuprofen, right?
My wife still, it's a big issue, right?
There's just a couple of things. A few medicines that you need to avoid. The most common one is anything related to ibuprofen. There are some antibiotics.
Alcohol-related issues?
I'm sorry?
Alcohol?
No, general rule of life, anything in moderation probably okay for you, anything in excess probably bad for you. And the only thing I tell patients is they need to avoid contact sports. Football, hockey, professional boxing, something where someone's objective is to hit you. And
what's up with the boxer over here?
Fitness is one thing. But if you're in a situation where someone's trying to actively hit you and could cause trauma to your remaining kidney, that you want to avoid.
Do you get hit back?
No, it's a bag. So it's just a bag.
So it's interesting. The message you'd want to deliver, Brian, to folks watching right now who say, wow, that's pretty amazing. He did that, she did that, your mom is doing much better. We wish your mom nothing but the best. That's not me. You say?
Well, I can really just speak for myself.
Did you think it was you?
No, I didn't know.
See what I mean? It's like,
I didn't.
Do people think they know? Do they always know whether it's them or not? I'm a good candidate, I'm not a good candidate.
Well, if somebody even considers donating, even if they're not able to actually go through the whole process, I'm not sure of the numbers, but a lot of people that want to donate are ruled out.
Yes.
So,
appropriately so.
They're ruled out for their own health and their own safety.
And that is what the clinicians do to ensure that only those who are viable candidates
and it's way beyond just the cross matching.
The matching, it goes beyond that. There are health issues, there are all kinds of stuff.
History, physical, lab work, X-rays, things to make sure that.
What about the human and psychological part of this? I mean, remember, did you meet your mom on with Megyn Kelly in Today's Show for the first time?
Yes.
Yes.
That was really no joke, first time?
No joke.
We had no idea. Yep.
No.
Describe that.
It was an amazing experience. Completely, overwhelming. I knew I was going to meet my recipient, but until you actually see them, you see them healthy, happy. It was unbelievable.
Is there a bond?
I feel there is. I have not seen Haley again since the show or since the dinner that the hospital had for us. But I look forward to it. We are in contact through email and Facebook. So it looks like she's enjoying her life.
There is a connection, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean...
What did you feel that day with Megyn Kelly?
I mean, I think Brian described it really well. Overwhelming is definitely the word I would use. I think of that day, there was a lot of things that happened that day, and I think I was most excited to meet Brian, my mom's donor, because that to me was everything.
Impact on your family?
Oh, huge.
How?
My mom, again, has just been sick for so long. I'm an only child, so, my dad and I have just been sort of rotating, taking care of her, taking her to dialysis. When she had a couple of hospital visits, we had to stay with her. So it's, it definitely takes a toll, and it takes a strain, just like physically and mentally on everybody around the patient too.
Has this made your family closer?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and I were always close. But I definitely think, yeah, as a whole, like not just our immediate family, but everybody has just sort of just pulled together.
I'm curious about this for both of you clinicians. We've talked about this before. The human and personal part of it. It's like for you.
Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding for us, obviously, to participate. It's really about the patients, though. It's about the courage of those that are sick with kidney failure and their desire to receive a transplant and their hope for a renewal of their life. And it's certainly about those that are volunteering to donate. What Brian did as an altruistic donor is truly remarkable, and that really can't be understated. In our program, we do over 150 living donor transplants a year. We probably do only a handful of truly altruistic.
Only a handful.
Yeah, the vast majority are people, and if you think about it, I think if I asked you or you asked me, we would certainly donate a kidney to someone in our family, right? If one of your kids needed a kidney, or your wife, myself, I'd say the same. And that's kind of a hypothetical or theoretical question.
You don't know
right?
the person now.
But I can ask you the real question, and you can ask me the real question, is would I be an altruistic donor?
I don't know the answer to it.
You know the answer. You haven't done it. I haven't done it. So it's a truly remarkable individual. I know all there is to know about kidney donation.
If you want to do it, you do it.
And it is a level of willingness to help a fellow man that goes really way beyond what most of us are capable of.
It's powerful.
And it's incredibly powerful. And that's why we hold it so sacred.
Final comments, Doctor, on a personal level.
On a personal level, I think it's obviously we are extremely proud of being part of this whole majestic process. And I think you also alluded to what is the impact. And I think I'll amplify a little on what Stu said. Not only is there an impact, obviously, on the recipient and on the donor, but you also have to consider the impact on the community at large. Your family, for instance, the near and dear relatives. This whole impact, this whole transplant process, it's almost like a pebble that you throw into a pool and the ripples. And the ripple effect is phenomenal. And I think that is what is so much fun, so much fun.
Powerful stuff. A minute left. 2020 Transplant Games happening. Help me on the team. Is it July
17th?
July 17th. You look at you. You know the date. Over in the Meadowlands area. Yes. You participated, or you all set up?
I was just out in Salt Lake City in August.
Team what? Liberty?
Team Liberty. Yes.
And what's this about? Real quick, tell folks what it's about. Go on the website. They're looking at the logo right there. What is this about? All over the country, Jersey got this.
Jersey got it.
What is it?
We're very excited.
It?
Transplant Games of America is a multi-sport festival that is held every 2 years. We won the bid to have it in New Jersey. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. We're expecting 12 to 15,000 people. It is transplant recipients, living donors, tissue recipients come together and do all different sports, but it's more about just the sports. It's getting all these people together, meeting the donor families, and just
it is a great event. We are going to be talking about it over the next year and a half or so, and I also want to thank all of you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as clinicians, you're always right there helping us understand. We appreciate it. And my message to everyone there, folks, is make your own decision, but find out more.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the Northward Center, Summit Medical Group, New Jersey Resources, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, NJIT, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and by Adler Aphasia Center. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
How do you create change? By cultivating hope. And we see that every day. In the eyes of our preschoolers, in the souls of the seniors in our Adult Day program, in the minds of the students at Robert Treat Academy, a national Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, in the passion of children in our Youth Leadership Development Program, in our commitment to connections at the Center for Autism, and in the heart of our community, the Northward Center, creating opportunities for equity, education, and growth.